Breaking news, Blue Nation. Before anything else, make sure to hit that like button to support the channel and drop a comment below. Do you think the NFL went too far this time? I want to hear what you think. Now, take a deep breath, because what went down this week was heavy. The punishment was one thing, but what came after felt like a clear attempt to drag a player's name through the mud and worse, to take a shot at an entire franchise. And when it's Detroit, we all know exactly why. But here, things are different. Here, we don't stay quiet, because every time they try to knock us down, this team rises. Every time they point fingers, the answer comes on the field. So get ready, Lions fans. What's coming to Ford Field isn't just another game. It's about pride, resilience, and respect. Monday night's matchup is going to carry a whole different kind of energy, and everyone wearing Honolulu blue knows it. Let's get right into it. The NFL didn't just hand Brian Branch a one-game suspension. They dragged his name through the mud. And honestly, Lions fans, this one feels personal. After last Sunday's matchup against the Chiefs, Branch got hit with a suspension for shoving Juju Smith-Schuster after the game. Stupid move? Sure. He owned up to it. Said he lost his cool after getting baited during the game. But instead of letting the kid take his punishment and move on, the league decided to make him the face of bad conduct in prime time. Early in the week, the NFL announced the one-game suspension, and most people thought that was the end of it. But then, days later, out of nowhere, NFL Films dropped what can only be described as a hit piece. They posted a video online as part of the NFL Turning Point series, narrated by ESPN's Louis Riddick. The video didn't just cover the game, it humiliated Branch, rolling low light after low light, missed plays, moments of frustration, and of course the post-game altercation. It painted him as reckless and immature, ignoring the full context of what happened on the field. It was almost like they were saying, look at this kid, this is what not to do. And here's the kicker, this wasn't some random YouTube post. This was an official NFL Films production, the same brand that has built its reputation for decades by celebrating the beauty of the game, not tearing down players. Even Riddick, who narrated the piece, later admitted it didn't come across the way it should have. Really, Louis? You read the script, you approved the narration, and only when the backlash hit did you decide it wasn't what you intended? Come on. The entire sequence was so bad that the league actually took the video down and issued an apology, saying it felt overly critical once it was clipped for social media. But if you've got to delete something that fast, maybe it should have never gone up in the first place. Lions fans are tired of this.
Tired of the double standard. Because you know, and I know, if this were Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce or even a big market name like Jalen Hurts, the league wouldn't dare release a montage mocking their mistakes. If it were New York or Philadelphia, it'd be spun as a player showing emotion, not a player out of control. Instead, it's Detroit, the small market team that's been fighting to earn respect for decades, getting singled out again. And it's not just Branch they're targeting. It's the entire Lions culture, the gritty underdog identity that's been built under Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Branch made a mistake. No one's denying that. But he's also one of the most promising young defensive backs in football, a guy who's helped redefine this secondary. The suspension was fair. The public shaming was not. When you start using your own media arm to humiliate a player who's already being punished, that's crossing a line. And if you look around that locker room right now, you can bet those players feel it too. According to reports from inside the team, guys are pissed, not just at the league, but at the way their teammate was disrespected. And that emotion, that anger, could end up being the very thing that fuels them Monday night when they step into Ford Field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because let's be real, this team's been through enough already. Injuries piling up in the secondary, suspensions, doubters circling. Yet somehow, they always find a way to answer when their backs are against the wall. Taylor Decker's finally back on the practice field after missing 2 games with that shoulder injury, which is huge. This offensive line needs its captain. Meanwhile, the secondary is hanging by a thread. No Brian Branch, possibly no Kirby Joseph with that knee issue, and a banged-up Terrion Arnold who somehow managed to return to practice even though the team thought he'd be out longer. These guys are fighting just to stay on the field. And still, they're 4-2, they haven't lost back-to-back games in 2 years, and they're staring down a Monday night showdown against the 5-1 Buccaneers, the same team with the best record in the NFC. So here's the question, how does this team respond? Do they crumble under the noise, or do they use this moment as fuel? Because right now, the entire football world is watching how Detroit reacts, not just to a suspension, but to the disrespect that came with it. Because make no mistake, this isn't just another Monday night game. This one feels personal. You can feel it in the tone of Dan Campbell's comments, in the looks on the players' faces at practice. The Lions have spent the entire week being portrayed as villains for something that should have been over days ago. And if there's one thing this team knows how to do, it's respond when people doubt them. Campbell's message to the locker room has been consistent. Control what you can control. And that means channeling the anger into execution. This group has been through worse. They've been through years of being laughed at, underestimated, and ignored. But this is not the same old Detroit Lions. This team doesn't whine about it. They turn it into fuel. And Monday night, in front of a national audience, they've got the perfect opportunity to do just that. Look, Tampa Bay is no joke. Baker Mayfield has been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league this season. 12 touchdowns, just 1 interception through 6 games. That's elite-level ball security. He's playing confident, he's taking shots downfield, and he's making smart decisions. For the Lions defense, already thin and beat up, that's a challenge. With Branch suspended, Joseph questionable, and DJ Reed and Avonte Maddox already out, the secondary will have to dig deep. Thomas Harper and Ifeatu Melifonwu could find themselves in major roles they didn't expect. But here's the good news. Terry and Arnold practiced this week. That's a spark of hope the Lions desperately need. If he can suit up, even in limited snaps, it changes the dynamic. Because the reality is this. Detroit doesn't have to be perfect defensively. They just have to be opportunistic. Baker Mayfield has been careful with the football all year, but every streak breaks eventually. If this defense can force one turnover, just one, that could swing the entire game. And don't underestimate how much the offense wants to make a statement too. Jared Goff has been quietly excellent, 14 touchdowns, only 2 picks, and a passer rating over 108. He's managing the game beautifully, spreading the ball around, and protecting the football. But what he and Ben Johnson need to do now is get back to dictating tempo. Too often, especially last week against Kansas City, they were reactive instead of aggressive. Monday night can't be like that. Detroit needs to strike first, silence the noise early, and force Tampa to chase. The biggest key? Aiden Hutchinson. The Bucs are missing their starting right tackle Luke Goedeke, which means Hutch is going to get plenty of snaps against the backup, Charlie Heck. That's a matchup Detroit absolutely has to exploit. When Hutch gets cooking, it changes everything, pressures the quarterback, forces mistakes, and energizes the defense. He's had big games against Tampa before, and you can bet he wants to make another statement in front of that primetime crowd. This is also about pride, about defending one of their own. The Lions aren't just fighting the Bucs, they're fighting a narrative, and narratives matter. When you're a small market team trying to build respect, perception can affect everything, the way refs call games, the way media covers you, the way fans outside Detroit see you. Monday night isn't just about getting to 5-2. It's about saying, you can't push us around anymore. And don't think the fans won't play a role in this either. Ford Field is going to be electric. The national spotlight, Monday Night Football, the anger brewing all week. This crowd's going to feel more like a playoff game than a regular season one. The players know that. They've talked about wanting to defend the den and remind the league that Detroit isn't just some feel-good story anymore. They're contenders, and they're tired of being disrespected. So what happens when emotion meets execution? When a locker room that's been backed into a corner decides to push back? We've seen this team rally before, after injuries, after tough losses, after being written off. But this feels like something different. It feels like a line in the sand. Because when the lights come on Monday night, the whole football world will be watching to see how Detroit responds to a week full of noise, disrespect, and outside judgment. Will the Lions rise above it all and send a message to the league, or will the chaos finally catch up to them? Drop your thoughts below, Lions fans. And if you're fired up for this Monday night battle, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around. We've got post-game reactions and analysis coming your way right after the game. And let's be real, moments like this are the ones that define a season. Every great team, every real contender, goes through some kind of storm. It's how you come out of it that shows who you really are. The Lions are sitting at 4-2, facing adversity from every direction, injuries, suspensions, and now, public disrespect straight from the league's own media arm. Yet you can feel that this team isn't breaking. They're bending, sure, but they're holding strong. That's the difference between this group and the versions of the Lions fans have watched for years. The locker room is tight. The leadership is strong. Guys like Jared Goff, Aiden Hutchinson, Taylor Decker, they've built a culture that doesn't flinch when things get ugly. And that's exactly why this moment could end up being a turning point in the season, not a setback. You know that when a player like Brian Branch sees his brothers in blue rallying behind him, it hits differently. It builds trust, it builds fire, and that fire spreads. On Monday night, it's not just about proving the NFL wrong, it's about proving to themselves that nothing outside those walls can shake what they've built. Ford Field is going to feel like a storm. The fans are going to bring the noise, the defense is going to bring the attitude, and if the offense starts fast, this could turn into one of those statement nights that everyone remembers. The kind that reminds the entire country why this team is for real. Because at the end of the day, Detroit football has always been about resilience. The city knows it, the fans live it, and the players embody it. You can knock them down, you can doubt them, you can drag their name through the dirt, but they'll still show up, helmets on, ready to hit back harder. So as the countdown begins for Monday Night Football, one thing feels certain, this team has something to say, and they're ready to let their pads do the talking. Lions fans, what do you think? Does this controversy light a fire that pushes the team to another level, or are you worried it might be one distraction too many? Drop your opinion in the comments, and if you believe in this team, show it. Hit that like button, subscribe for more Detroit Lions coverage, and stick around after the game for our full breakdown and reaction video. Ford Field's about to roar, and this might just be the night the Lions remind the entire league who they really are. And you know what's wild? For all the noise this week, for all the talking heads and social media clips trying to drag Detroit through the mud, the people inside that building at Allen Park aren't backing down one bit. Reporters who've been around the team all season say the energy at practice has been different, sharper, louder, more focused. You can see it in the way the defensive backs are communicating, in the way Hutchinson is barking during drills, in the quiet intensity on Jared Goff's face. This isn't a team sulking. It's a team simmering. Dan Campbell's already said it. He wants them to play angry but play smart. That's been his message all week. Channel the emotion. Don't let it control you. Because the league might have taken their shot, but Detroit gets to answer on the field, where the only thing that matters is the scoreboard. And that's what makes this matchup against Tampa so fascinating. The Buccaneers might have the best record in the NFC, but they haven't faced a team this motivated. They haven't faced a team this unified around a single message. Every Lion